This
the
conference will now be recorded.
So any questions on the previous one would like to ask me? Any questions, guys? Can I consider silence as no? You guys are understood everything. That's great. Okay. So no doubt. Okay. So okay, fine. So now we're entering into the concept called scaling mechanisms of AWS. Then we'll enter into the concept called uh, databases, right? Databases mechanisms on AWS. That is the later part. So this is the huge the scaling mechanisms of AWS is pretty huge actually when compared to other services, right? It's going to be involved like load balancers. It's going to involve SMS. It's going to involve the respective areas here, right? So all these things, the scaling parameters are going to be right very important actually. So now here we're going to be discuss about the specifically the difference between the vertical scaling and horizontal or sorry horizontal auto scaling, right? Horizontal auto scaling. Just give us. So now here we're entering into the vertical scaling mechanisms, right? Vertical scaling mechanisms. So let me create a vertical scaling here. So vertical scaling mechanisms is going to be, it's not automatic actually. Remember, vertical scaling mechanism is not automatic actually. So that means automatic in the sense based upon the load, right? You have been increasing the instances, or based upon the high CPU, you have been increasing the instances, right? Based upon the high CPU, you have been increasing the instances. So all these things, it's not going to be belongs to the like vertical scaling here. You guys need to do manually, right? You guys need to do manually for the respective, right? You guys need to do manually for the respective vertical scaling mechanism here. So here it going to be depends upon the scale up and scale down, right? Scale up and scale down here. It going to be depends upon the scale up and scale down. Scale up, right? Scale up will increase the instances, will increase the type of the instances, right? That means, for example, you have an instance of D2 micro. What is the memory and CPU for the D2 micro? What is the memory and CPU for the respective T2 micro? How much memory and how much CPU will going to be there? One core of CPU, 1 GB of memory, right? 1 GB of memory. One core of CPU, 1 GB of memory, right? So for the application, right, it required at least 2 cores of CPU, right? It required 2 cores of CPU, and right, it required 2 cores of CPU and 1 GB of memory. Sorry, 2 cores of CPU and 4 GB of memory. So you need to increase the nest level. That is nothing but T2 medium action, right? You need to increase the nest level. That is nothing but T2 medium. Right? That is nothing but T2 medium. You need to increase it. That is nothing but T2 medium here. So now here, this T2 medium will increase to the next level instances. That policy is called scale up policy. Right? That policy is called scale up policy here. That policy is called scale up policy. Right? Scale up mechanism. So this is called vertical scaling. Further, it required a downtime. Right? It needed a downtime. It needed a downtime actually. Right? It needed a downtime. So further, it needed a downtime here. So which means, right, further it needed a downtime here. Which means you need to stop the instances, then only you will get the options for the, right, then only you will get the options for the, right, you need to stop the instances, then only you will get the options for the increase the instance type, then only you will get the options for the increase the instance type here. So now here, let's say suppose you have an instances here, right? So here you have an instance which is in T2 micro. So if I go for the actions, if I go for the instance settings, if see, look at here, change the instance type, right? Change the instance type, that is going to be disabled, right? Change the instance type, that is going to be disabled here. Change the instance type, that is going to be disabled. So to enable these respective instances, you need to stop the specific instances first. You asked me, Shenmukh, it required a downtime. Yes, you need a downtime actually. To upgrade the resources, you need a downtime. Right? To upgrade the resources, you need a downtime. To upgrade the resources, you need a downtime here. So let's wait for it.
Shanmugh, sorry to ask this one. So this T2 instance and all comes under compute based or the general based?
This is on general purpose instances.
Okay.
Like general purpose instance. Compute is T type. General purpose is T and M type. M type. So now here it isn't stopping the respective instances. Let it wait to stop the instances here. Let it wait for this.
So we need to inform to AWS whenever we want to change the instance type to
No,
upgrading
not
the
required.
instance.
We need to stop it.
No, for upgrade, no, we're changing the instance type I'm talking about. One, for example, now T2 micro to T2 medium. So we need to inform to AWS team why because for
No,
building purpose.
no, you don't need to do it. Just you need to stop it. You need to change this.
So building based on that it will come, right?
Yeah, automatically it will going to be change the billing one. So yeah, this is taking that on. It got stopped now. Now, if you go for the respective instance state here, right? If you go for the actions, if you go for the instance settings, if you go for the change instance type now, you will get an option to go with T2 micro to T2 medium, right? Or you can go with directly to the T2 medium, right? Apply it. So this is how you guys are going to be upgrading the system, right? This is how you guys are going to be upgrading the system. The process of changing the systems is like, right? The process of changing the system is like, is called vertical scaling, right? That means you have been enhancing the respective instance type from one instance type to other instance type. You have been expanding the from one instance type to other instance type here, right? One instance type to other instance type here. So now here, if you observe that this is got changed actually. So now here, if you observe that this is got changed. So you have been increased to T2 medium, right? So my question is, can I change from AMD to ARM based instances? That means normal basic instances, for example, T2 micro to, can I change it to TG, right? TG micro or T4G micro. Can I change it this one actually? Can I scale up the resources from T2 micro to T4G dot micro?
You know,
Why?
because it is, changing the operating system research.
Right?
The architect is changing.
Okay. It's going to be change the binaries actually, right? So it
Correct.
is not possible here. Right? It is not possible here. So that's how it's going to be happen. It is not going to be possible here. But you cannot change from AMD to ARM based. Right? What if you require to change actually? What you guys need to do? What if you want to change it? Is it going to be possible?
But still, that testing is going on, right? For ARM based instances, application won't work.
Yeah. So this is not going to be possible. Ideally, this question, this requirement itself is not going to be helpful for them, right? So this kind of tricky question they will ask you. So can you going to be scale up from the respect to AMD to ARM? No, it is not going to be possible. The architecture is not going to be supported for the operating system is not going to be supported for you, right? So now here the process of scaling up and the scaling down the resources is called the vertical scaling. So the vertical scaling deals with the right. That vertical scaling is deal with the right. It deal with the scale up, which is nothing but increasing of the resources, increasing of the resources, and scale down is nothing but the decreasing of the resources. Scale down is nothing but the decreasing of the resources, right? Decreasing of the resources, right? So the process is going to be the vertical scaling, right? The vertical scaling needed the downtime actually, right? Needed the downtime actually. So if I want to go with an enhanced way of automations, I need to process the horizontal, right? If I want to go with the enhanced processes, I need to go with an horizontal auto scaling mechanism, right? Horizontal auto scale. So this is going to be typically you can scale with, right, in the real-time environment. Typically you can scale with CPU-based resources, right? CPU-based metrics. So for that, you guys going to be needed. What you guys need to going to be needed here? If I'm going to be enable the CPU-based resources here, right? What you guys need to require here? If I want to scale up the resources from the CPU-based, what I needed here?
CPU utilization.
CPU utilization. So how you can get that respect to CPU utilization here?
Using top command.
Command, so yeah, CloudWatch actually. That's what the top command, of course, you will get, right? But how you guys are going to monitor here with respect to the CloudWatch here. That's why you need to discussing about the CloudWatch before discussing about this section actually, right? You got my point now. So now here we're going to be taken the typical example of the real-time environment. So how that is going to be happen, we're going to be discuss here. So now here, why exactly horizontal auto scaling needed, guys? why should I need to care about this respect to horizontal auto scaling?
Due to peak times, so the load will go high.
To avoid downtime.
Thanks. You guys spoke something. So now here, let's consider the scenario. You have an Amazon daughter. So generally, Amazon sorting will going to be sale will going to be there, right? Let's consider you have an Republic sale, right? Republic sale. So what these people going to do is going to give the up to 40% discount. Ideally, you will not get 40% discount. That is different scenario. So up to 40% discount, these people are going to give the ads on complete all social platforms, right? The scaling is going to be completely going to be increased. Right? The number of hits, people are going to be, the customers or the consumers are going to be repeatedly searching for the respective products, right? So to purchase it, repeatedly searching for the product to purchase it, right? So now here you guys need to understand. So how, in what basis I need to, right? In what basis I need to enable the scaling mechanism? In what basis I need to enable the scaling mechanism? So now here, if you look at this one, Amazon.in is a Republic sale from up to 40% discount, and the sale starts from 26. The sale starts from 25 to, and it ends from 28. So how many days actually? Let's consider 3 full
4 days.
days. 4 days, or right? 4 days from 25th night to 28th night. Right, 4 days. So now here, before Amazon.in sale this respect to sale, these people are going to be perform a performance test. You call this one as a performance test actually. Right. In this performance test, these people are going to be address all kind of concepts. Right. For example, right, if 1,000 concurrent users are going to be hit to your respective application, in this performance test, they will going to be come across 1,000 concurrent users, right? What is the meaning of concurrent here? Concurrent connections.
Parallel
What is the
connections.
meaning? Sorry?
Parallel connections.
Yeah, parallel connections. Yeah, right. Parallel connections here. So now here at the same time, right? At the same time, if 1,000 concurrent connections are going to be hit to your respective platform called Amazon.in, right? Are going to hit your respective platform called Amazon.in. Right, you guys need to have an at least, right, you guys going to be having at least 10 instances, 10 EC2 instances with the size of C5A 4x large, with the size of C5A 4x large, C5A 4x large. Right, C5A 4x large. So this is what it's going to do. Right. So for 1,000 concurrent users, how many instances are required? 10 instances. What is the configuration of the instances? C5A 4x large. Let's consider the scenario. I needed an 10,000 concurrent request because of during the sale, I required an 10,000 concurrent users. Like my expectation is 10,000 concurrent users are going to be right hit to your respective Amazon.in. Right. Right. So now how many 10K concurrent users, how many instances are required, guys?
100.
Hit 100 concurrent, right? 100 instances are required. So can I scale directly to 100? Can I scale directly to 100? If I scale directly to 100, there is no point of you calling this one as a cloud is going to be helpful for you pay as you go model. right? Based upon the demand, you guys are going to be increase the respective right. So now here, this is how the scaling mechanism is going to work here, horizontal auto scale, right? This is how the horizontal auto scaling mechanism is going to work here. So based upon the load, right? Based upon the load, you guys are completely going to be increase the respective number of minimum instances to the maximum instances. Minimum instances to the maximum instances. You guys are going to be useful here. So now here, the procedure here, you got my point. What is the purpose of horizontal auto scaling? What does it do? Yes, Google. That's how it works actually. So based upon the average load, you guys are going to be increased from minimum to maximum. So what is my minimum? 1000 concurrent user will hit at any point of time. That is my minimum request. For that, what is the minimum value for I need to allocate it to my minimum instances here? Right? What is the value I need to allocate it to the respective minimum instances here? 10 I need to allocate. 10 I need to allocate actually. What is the max I can go with? Max I can go with 100. So I am expecting, let's say, suppose 10K concurrent users. So now here, based upon this, my EC2 instances need to scale in and scale out. The mechanism you call, the technical term you called scale in and scale out here. Right? Scale in and scale out. Right? Scaling is nothing but removing the instances. Scaling is nothing but removing the instances. And scale out is nothing but, right? And scale out is nothing but appending the instances. Right? Or the adding the instances, or adding the instances. Right? Adding the instances or removing the instances or appending the instances. Right? That is one main important. Adding the instance, appending the instances and adding the instances. That is one main important thing here. So now here you need to understand about the how to enable this respective mechanism. Right? Now how to enable this respective mechanism that you guys need to So firstly, what is your thought process here? So to enable this, what is your thought process? Firstly, what is your thought process here? So how does you guys are planning going to do? Or what factors you guys are going to be considered actually?
So we need to decide the policy where at a time how many instances we are going to increase or decrease. That rule should be specified what type of instance we will be adopting, for which application what should be adopted, those rules. Up to what time we want to keep the scale in, scale out.
So
Yeah,
there should be some analysis from the last years, right? So based on that, they will analyze, this year as well. There should be some criteria, right, from the last year to this year, right? So based on that, what time they know when things.
So it would check the rules. Once it hit the rule, it would spawn out new instances like CPU utilization or memory.
Right. Great. Thanks for you guys are more interactive on end of the week, Friday. Thanks for that. So firstly, I will need a step-by-step configuration actually, right? So here for the horizontal auto scaling, you guys are going to be having two things actually. One is with launch configuration, right? Launch configuration, right? This is the older generation. This is the previous generation actually. The latest one here, you call this a launch template actually. right, launch configuration, and the second one here you called as launch template here, right, launch template here. So now here, this is first step here. This is first step. Either you require a launch configuration, either you require a launch template. And you have the second thing you got this one as an auto scaling groups. Right? And second thing you call this one as an auto scaling groups here. Right? You call this one as an auto scaling groups. So now here, firstly, as someone said, I think Banu said here, right? You need an application actually, right? Application, right? Application criteria. So how you guys are going to be get here? The application is AMI. You require a proper AMI. Which instances I need to be spin up? Right? Whenever there is a load, I cannot spin up the newly created brand new instances, right? So I needed a respective instances need to be spin up, right? Where it's going to be consisting of my application, right? Either I can take the AMI or else either I can pass with one more thing called user data. Right? I can utilize the concept called user data. Right? I can utilize the concept called user data here. And secondly, I need to enable, like, in the launch configuration, I need to enable the which AMI I need to select and what is the hard disk size I require to launch the instances, and what is the security groups rules need to be attached to that respective instances, and what is the tax that I'm going to be use here, right? What is the tax I'm going to be use here, and what is the respective key to log in into the respective instances. So these 5 things I'm going to be placed under the launch configuration, right? Under the launch configuration. These 5 things I'm going to place under the launch configuration here. These 5 things I'm going to place under the launch configuration here. Am I clear on this? Any questions, any doubts?
Instead of that, can we create an image of your instance?
Yeah, you can create an image of that's why I said in this is the first step I using the AMI actually, but here in the hard disk configuration, security groups and tags and keys are not going to be appended via AMI, right? AMI is going to be just capture of your respective instances, but additional configuration of the instances, it is through happening to you guys need to decide what kind of hard disk, whether you are okay with the AMI size of the hard disk, and what kind of security groups you need to attach to your instances, what kind of tags, what is the key, right? Key pair you need to register to your respective instances. Like these things you need to be mentioned on your respective launch configuration, right?
EMI should be the same, right, for all the scaling up.
Yeah, AMI should be same. That's why AMI should be unique. Or else, if you guys want to be, you don't want to go with an AMI, right? You need to go with an respective bootstrapping, right? You need to go with a respect to bootstrapping. You need to write a shell script to enable your respective application here. Am I clear?
And
To
what
enable your
about zone
Sorry?
and VPC selection?
Yeah.
Zone and VPC selection?
Yeah. So yeah, that is good point actually. You need to decide. So this is comes with the configuration called auto scaling group actually. In this auto scaling group, you need to mention which launch configuration you need to be launched for an instances, the first step. And secondly, in which VPC you need to be launched, and in which subnet, that means in which availability zone, like in which subnet and in which availability zone. And now here, under what basis you need to be scale in and scale out. The scale in and scale out options, right? The scale in and scale out options, under what basis you guys need to do, right? Scale in and scale out options, under what basis you guys need to do, right? That is also you guys need to decide. The scale in and scale out options you guys need to decide, right? Typically you need to create to decide the scale in and scale out mechanism. You guys need to decide the respective CPU metrics, right? And also you need to be decide the minimum and maximum instances. At minimum and maximum instances you guys need to decide, right? And you need to create the respective auto scaling. Right, this is what you guys need to do. Am I clear? So these things you guys are going to be, right? These things you guys are going to be, right? These things you guys are going to be perform in the actions actually. Am I clear, guys? Any questions, any doubts here? Right. So now here we're going to be entering into the concept of creation of this LANs configuration on the first initiative, and we're going to be we're going to be help you to understand about the scaling policy. You can attach the auto scaling group to the target group of our yes, that is also going to be performing right now. Uday, right? So this is the use the practical, right? This is the use practical. Let me work together to complete this practical here. So let me know if you guys are having any challenges here. So I'm changing the respective regions in a way that to avoid the confusion, right? To avoid the confusion here, I'm going to switching to the Ireland, right? Without any passport, I'm going to switching into the any visa kind of stuff. I'm going to switching into Ireland. This is the best way you need to travel across the globe, at least in that manner, right? You guys need to enable the respective LANs instances. Here you are choosing an AMI, right? And the T2 micro, and you are passing the respective bootstrap script here. Right here, I'm going to use the normal, the basic one here. Right, HPA. This is the example for HPA here, and adding the storage here. Add the tags here. Name equal to HPA application actually. So sorry, HAS application actually, horizontal auto scaling application here. Now here, as I'm using the respective, as I'm using the respective Apache web server, I'm been opening the HTTP port. Review and launch the instances here. Review and launch the instances here. Review and launch the instances here. So now here you guys need to enable the here you guys need to enable the respective applications. So before creating the email, you should wait that completely thoroughly all the instance checks should be completed. Right, all the instances should be going to be completed. Right, this is one thing that you guys need to wait for it. So most of the time I'm been looking for the when these people are going to be performing the practical, they will not going to wait for the health checks got completed actually, the status of health checks. When the status of the health checks are still in the installation state, they start taking the AMI. This may this may going to be leads to corrupt your respective AMI, and your application functionality is not going to be really enabled here. That is one thing that you guys need to understand. Right, you should wait for your respective health checks need to be completely passed. Right, you should wait for your respective health checks need to be completely passed. That is one thing you guys need to understand here. So let's wait for it till the respective health checks got passed here. Let's wait for it. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, let me know, guys, so that we'll have a.
So
We'll get to
basically
the
all the
bottom of it.
instance, Shanmugh, so basically all the instance, 2 checks passed, right? So what is the 2 steps? What is first one? What is second one? The statistics.
Basically, it will check the hardware, like, if you want to know what is the 2 checks here, you need to go for the actions, you need to go for the respective instance settings, and you need to go with get system logs actually. Here you have an respective system. It will going to check the hardware peripherals actually on the back end. What kind of
So
hardware things is going to be there.
okay, first
And whether the
step.
installation of the whether the installation of your respective operating systems and whether the CloudWatch metrics has completely processed properly. That is how the second step. First is with the hardware and second one is with your operating system. Whether your operating system is in the read-only mode or whether your operating system is in healthy, right? Whether your hard disk is attached successfully. So these kind of checks will going to be there. So now, if you want to go with the respect to this thing, actually, if you want to know, here you have an get system log actually. Monitoring and the troubleshoot, you have an get instance screenshot or get system log. So in the back end, it's going to be verify what kind of things, right? In the back end, it's going to be verify what kind of things is going to be happen. So here still the system log is not generated actually. So here the system log is going to be generated. So if you guys are facing any kind of health checks got passed, right? Now Jeevan asked me, so whether if suppose 2 out of 2, if it will showing only the like 1 out of 2. So at that time, what I need to do? So you need to enable this, you need to download this respective system logs and you need to, right? You need to share the respective system log to your specific AWS guy so that he can troubleshoot it. Right? Clear? Am I clear on this? So this one you guys need to, right? This one you guys need to work towards, right? Whenever you have facing the issue, you need to download the system log and you need to enable this respective system log here. That one thing you guys need to enable it. So now here, this system checks got passed actually. Now you guys need to start taking the AMI. This AMI is nothing but your application actually, right? Your application is working fine, and this AMI is nothing but your application here. Go for the images, go for the create image, right? So you can name this one as an prod AMI here. You can name this one as an prod AMI here. Right? You can name this one as an prod AMI, right? Prod AMI here. You can name this one as an prod AMI here. So create the AMI here. Right, it's on pending state actually. So let's wait for till it got created. Let's wait for till it got created here. So now here, let's wait for it. So meanwhile, you guys need to create a load balancer here. Well, let's create a load balancer here. So I would like to create this respective load balancer, and I'm going to create a target group here. Let's create a production load balancer. We're going with an application load balancer here. Most of the times you guys are associate with the application load balancer in your real-time environment as well. Like prod-lb. So internet facing. So you guys know about the what is the purpose of internet facing. Like what is the purpose of internet facing, guys? What does it do? What is the schema? What does it do?
Outside.
You can
You
able
can
to
reach
connect
the
to
load
the
balancer from internet.
from internet, right? You can reach the load balancer from internet. So now here, so you need to understand about this internet facing. You are reaching the load balancer from the internet. So now here, this is the application load balancer availability. Remember, right? This is called elastic load balancer. What is the so what is the term what is the meaning of elastic actually? What does it do? What is the by default meaning of elastic load balancer? Elastic in the sense, what is the meaning
It
of elastic?
increases and depends on the demand. It adjusts
Yeah,
itself.
it will going to be scale and it's going to be compressed actually based upon the respective number of hits. See, back end, you guys are not going to get a physical load balancer actually. You will get an one VM on top of it. These people are going to be enable the application for your load balancer, right? It's a VM actually. It will scales and it will compress based upon the number of requests. If suppose I'm going to hit for the 10 million, it will go with the 10 million flow actually. It will scale very rapidly actually. That's why people are not facing any kind of downtime. If you observe that there is no downtime for the Paytm actually, then our phone pay. Of course, the transactions are not going to be like of course the transactions are not going to be uh, process sometimes it's going to be fail because of the API gateway issues to call your respective banking API, right? But at any point of time, your phone pay application will going to be open, right? At any point of time, your phone pay application is going to be open. So now here, this is the enable of your respective application load balancer, high availability. So now here, I selected the two availability zones. You can select the three as well. So now here, create a security group here, new security group, create a new security group. I would like to make this one as a prod-web server. Prod-web server here. Prod-web server here. Inbound 80 here I'm going to be open. Inbound 80 here I'm going to be open here. Right. Custom anywhere. And here I'm going to manage with respect to HTTP. Right. Anywhere with IPv6. So outbound traffic, I'm been calling the respective outbound traffic. I'm going to calling the respective. I have allowed all the traffic here. So now here you have a prod-web server here. Right now here you have a prod-web server. So now here create a target group. Now here create a target group. So I'm creating a target group here. Listen carefully. I'm creating target group prod application right? UI user interface, right? HTTP1 protocol here, and I'm been using the respective to health thresholds here and 200 to 399, right? The success code. See, if you look at here, I'm not attaching any instances. Yeah. Oh, Pramod, good. Right? Index.html. Good catch. Right? So now here I'm not attaching any kind of instances here. Look at here. I'm not attaching any instances. I just created a target group without any instances. Right? I just created a target group without any instances here. I just created a target group without any instances here. This is one thing which I have did. So now here you need to understand about the right. You guys need to understand about the respective right. You guys need to understand about the respective load balancer, and you have created the target group. And meanwhile, right, you have created the load balancer and you created the target group here. Okay, still the load balancer is in right. This is on prod API here, and here I am creating a load balancer here. So let it create. So I have attached to the respective listeners to the default prod-app-UI. So now here, let's check whether the AMI got completed. Yeah, this is still in. So this is available now. So now here, as soon as your AMI got available, let's terminate your instances. Let's terminate the instances. Right, let's terminate the instances here. So now here you guys have terminated the respective instances. So now here you guys have terminated the respective instances here. So now let's start creating the launch configuration. Let's start creating the launch configuration. Right. Let's start creating the launch configuration here. We'll see how the launch configuration is going to be helpful for you. So now here, what is the first things you guys are going with the auto scaling group? Launch configuration. This is the previous generation here. We'll also going to be discuss about the launch template and going to be knowing about the difference between launch configuration and launch template. In what scenario you guys are going to be used, right? In what scenario you guys are going to be used, right? Now here, create a launch configuration here. Name is equal to prod-web-UI. And now here you need to select this respective one here, the one which you have created prod AMI. Right, the one which you have created with the prod AMI here. Right, the one which you have created the prod AMI here. So now here you have an instance type that you guys need to select. Choose an instance type that you guys need to select. So T2 micro, as you guys are into free type, but in real time you guys are going with what kind of instances you guys are going to be used for the respective application based. What kind of instance, right? You guys are going with the application based CFET, right? Choose the instance type. System was stuck. Why this is not entering actually? Product and web UI. So enable the detailed monitoring if you want to enable the storage mechanisms. So if you want to go with any kind of new security groups or existing security groups, you can enable this respective one. Keep your login authentication as yes. So now here, this is not happening here. What happened to this? Yeah, I got it. So T2 micro. So now here, this is T2 micro here, choosing of instances here. So now here I created the launch configuration. So now before going to that, to decide the minimum scale, max scale, what I need to do? To decide the minimum scale and max scale, what I need to do here? Before creating the minimum and maximum, what I need to do?
To configure the CloudWatch.
Right, CloudWatch you need to configure, right? So now here, let's configure the CloudWatch metrics actually. So now here, what you guys need to do here, before matching this respective CloudWatch here, you guys need to create the respective auto scaling group. So now here you've been creating the auto scaling group here, right, for the min and max actually. So prod hyphen, guys following, any questions, any doubts as of now? Right, prod hyphen, web hyphen, UI hyphen, launch temp, sorry, launch configuration here. This is auto scaling group. So switch to the launch configuration model. You are going with the launch configuration model. Select the one which you have created just now. So we'll discuss later the respective one, launch template. Now here, Uday, so here is the one where you guys are going to be launching the instances. Here I am selecting 1A, 1B and 1C. It will first create on 1A, it will second create on 1B, it will third create it on 1C. Again, in the fourth, it will go for 1A, fifth it going for 1B and then 1C. Like that, it keeps on changing the path to ensure the high availability. Uday, am I clear on this? So this is what it do, right? This is what it do. So now here, you need to understand about this, how this is going to be happen. So click on next. Now attached to the existing load balancer, again someone asked me, I think Pramod. So here you need to calling the target group. That means the instances which is going to be created, it will automatically attach to your respective target group. It will automatically register to the respective target. The instance which is going to be created, it is automatically respond to this respective target. Right? Am I clear on this? Right? So now here you need to enable the health checks, right? Enable the health checks. EC2 by default health checks are going to be familiar one rather than ELB, right? That is one main important thing that you guys need to understand here. So now here, someone asked me, I think Uday or Pramod actually. Let's say suppose Shenmukh, if you are into like the minimum and the maximum values are going to be increased from 10 to 100, whatever it is, right? 10 to 100. So now here, if you observe that, so now here, if you observe that, let's say suppose the CPU utilization is high. Let's say suppose the CPU utilization is high. You have the CPU utilization is crossed to 75%. So whenever it crosses to the 75%, you guys are appended to the two resources, right? Whenever it crosses to the 75%, you guys are appended to the two resources. So now, even though after adding the two resources, at present it has two, you added additional two. Right? You added additional two actually. At present you have added two, you have an additional two actually. So now here, still the CPU percentage is more than 75%, even though I have appended two instances to my existing configuration, right? Even though I have appended the existing configurations, even though I have added the two instances, still the CPU percentage is greater than 75, right? Till the CPU percentage is greater than 75 here. So now here, what I'm trying to say here, still the CPU percentage is greater than 70%, even though I have appended it. So for the next iteration, here, you need to wait for 300 seconds to add 2 more instances. You got my point? Am I clear on this? For the next
Yes.
iterations, you guys are need to wait for 300 seconds. That is called your grace period here. Health check grace period. That is called, this is how it's going to be happen. You got my point here? Am I clear on this? Any questions, any doubts?
What is minimum health check grace period we can set?
Sorry.
What is the minimum health check grace period we can set here?
300
critical
seconds. 300 seconds.
applications?
By default, 300 seconds.
So for critical
Yes.
applications, I feel that is not been suitable. 300 seconds is 5 minutes.
See, that's why you are not adding the resources when it reaches to the 90%. You are adding the resources when it reaches the 70%. Your scaling and scale out activities is not that aggressive actually. It's not in aggressive nature. Even what you have said is true. 300 seconds is very huge for my production, but I am not doing in the last minute to scale out my resources. I am proactively, whenever the warning alert is going to be triggered 75%, I am appending the instances because to avoid disturbance in my application transaction workflow. Whatever you said is true. So that is how the key point is works here. Whether you need to decide at 75% of CPU, whether you need to decide at 90%. That your application developer should be need to insist you. It should, whenever it reaches more than 75%, you should append the resources because this is not that aggressive. For the booting of instances, it will take at least 3 minutes, and you have been waiting for 5 minutes for your grace period for the next iteration. So total 8 to 10 minutes of the time you need to safeguard it for your respective transactions. Otherwise, your transactions are not going to be live. That's why you need to decide to scale out or scale in proactively whenever the CPU is going to be reached to the warning alert, not for the high alert. You got my point, Avinash?
Yes, and even I'm thinking for the applications which are unpredictable, which are
No,
very
application,
flexible.
why should see, application is not developed by a robot. Application is developed by a respective developer. How come application
Yeah,
is an unpredictable? If your thread count, if you are respective Java heap size memory, you are not confident enough to predict. That means there is a
hmm,
flaw in your respective application. It was developed
maybe
by
I'm
a
thinking a lot.
developer. You need to perform, you need to be do the performance test. You are not doing the R&D on the production environment. That's why you guys are doing the R&D on the performance environment here. So to understand the behavior of the application, right?
Hmm.
That's why you guys are using a performance environment to perform your scale test. Once you have a confident enough, what you said is true. Application is an unpredictable actually. But to make it predictable, you are using your performance to gain the confidence. You are using the performance environment, right? So now, if
Got
you
it.
take an example of Hotstar, whenever there is a huge spike, they will increase the instances proactively because scaling itself is not that aggressive in nature. Might be
Yes.
the cost in the application, might be you have a resource crunches in the AWS, or might be there are some technical. They're not going to wait for the last minute. They will go with the warning alert itself, right? Warning alert itself is in 75%. That's what. Fine. This is the health check grace period for the 300 seconds here, right? For the next iteration, and yeah, scale down it's also going to be for 300 seconds. Actually. That is true. So now here you are enabling this one, and here you have an desired capacity. Desired means what? What is the meaning of desired actually? What is desired meaning actually? So you want, right? So I need this. Right? This is at this moment, right? What count you want in my scenario? At this moment, I need, right, at this moment, I need at least 10 instances at this current moment. Minimum at any point of time, I require 10 instances. Maximum I can scale up to 1000 instances or 100 instances, whatever it is. But as of now, you are into a free tier account, you are going with deserved as 1, minimum as 1, and maximum as 10. You are into, right? You guys are into this respective, free tier. Deserved means at this moment, at this current situation, I require 1 instances. Minimum means at any point of time, I require 1 instances. Right? Maximum means the scale is going to be happen up to 10 instances here. Am I clear on this? This is what the meaning here. Right? So now here, this is how the target policy. So we'll discuss here. The target policy we're going to discuss here. Let go for none. So now here, what is the meaning of scaling? What is the meaning of scaling, guys? What does it do? What is the meaning of scaling actually? I said, what is the difference between the scale and scaling?
Removing the extension from the code.
Removing the instances. Good. Removing the instances. I need few of the instances should be there at any point of time. Right? I need few of the instances should be there at any point of time. It will not going to be terminate because of the scaling factors. It will not going to be terminate because of the scaling factors. In such scenario, to avoid this, I'm going to be enable the scaling protection that I will discuss how you guys are going to be enabled here. Next, add the notifications. You guys need to use the add the notifications for your respect to SNS topic, right? So that lands, terminate, fail to land, and fail to terminate. All the notifications are going to be triggered to your respective SNS notifications. I have not created SNS notification, you just created it. Let's click on the add tags. So name equal to, right, production -web -UI and respective environment equal to production, and so type equal to scaling. So to identify you are into auto scaling, and next review and create the auto scaling here. Right, create the auto scale. So now here by tomorrow, by next class, that means on Monday, we'll discuss about the remaining. Still, it will right remaining things. Actually, we'll discuss about how the scaling mechanism works here. Right. So now, any questions as of now, guys? Any questions?
No.
Yeah. So now here, the assignment I'm going to give for the assignment number 2. So try to submit the assignment here. I think I've taken almost 9.5. Sorry for that. So create a ALB with header base cookie user equal to Tom. Right. Create a CloudWatch alarm and trigger the alarm by using SNS notification, right? SNS notification, right? SNS notification when the total bill is reached to $100. So for your total bill is going to reach to $2. That means whenever it's going to be reaching the $2, it should trigger an alarm to your SNS notification, right? SNS notifications. Create a dashboard with ELB 3 accessories and 4 accessories, and create a CloudWatch dashboard with ELB 3 accessories as well as 4 accessories, and so unhealthy host count, right? Unhealthy host count. These things you guys need to, right, provide me the next assignment here. Right, guys?
Sure.
So yeah, so try to submit the assignment, guys, and I will post you the comments, right? So any questions, any doubts you would like to ask me?
Yeah, one question here. So, how we created the rules, like under what scenario this horizontal scaling will trigger,
Yeah,
or
that I will
it need
discuss.
to be done?
That target policies I'm going to discuss. I have not done it. That target policies I'm going to
Oh,
discuss.
okay, okay.
Still you have, yeah, that is the next step actually. Just I created. So I thought I'm going to complete before 9:10, but somehow it was not happen. It will take at least 15, 20 to 30 minutes to understand again, right? So probably you guys are working, like working engineers, so you have your own responsibilities. That's why I stopped here, right? So thank you guys. We'll meet by Monday. Sharp. Thanks. Have a great day and great weekend.
Yeah, Shanmugh, this is Shashi.
Yes, Ishi.
Yeah, basically I have done my first assignment, but I'm seeing some billing information about 25 rupees. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so basically, not only for Shishi, let me make you a presenter actually. I make you as presenter actually. Okay, see, basically, what I'm trying to say here is, if it reach to 10,000 as well, right? 10,000 as well, they'll not going to be detect any amount actually, right? They'll not going to be detect any amount. So you can call, raise a ticket, make it as zero that I'm performing some, like I'm doing that, I'm learning AWS, right? So that you
Okay.
can perform the activity actually. So they will make you as zero. That is one step. Up to 2 to 3 things they will make you as zero actually, right? 2 to 3 times. So later point of time they will block your account. You need to create one more Gmail actually.
Okay.
You need to create one more Gmail account, and you need to create a new one.
Okay.
You guys need to create a new one actually, new account. That's
Okay.
how it's going to be.
Okay. Thanks.
Guys, feel free to post questions in the group. So and right. So if anyone want to talk to one-on-one, right, you can call me by tomorrow to my number actually. Right. If any questions or anyone want to talk to one-on-one after 10, you can call me. So Saturday, Sunday I will be available. You can call me after 10. Right. I think few people are message me. So when can I talk to you? I forgot those names actually.
10 p.m.
You can call me
Shanmugh.
tomorrow after 10
Shanmugh.
actually to my personal number,
Shanmugh.
so that you have the group number is my number actually. You can call me at any time. Those who want to talk to me.
Sure. Thank you, Shanmugh. Yeah.
Like if any questions you guys are doing practice, just so be active in the group, guys, so that it will going to be helpful for you and helpful for me as well. Right, to make sure how far you guys are understanding. As it is a virtual classroom, right? If I'm in a physical classroom, definitely I can call by looking at your facial expressions, I can get another understanding whether you guys are able to do or not. But unfortunately, you guys are connecting to the virtual. Yeah, it should be a difficult for me to understand. Right. So thanks a lot, guys. So yeah, any other questions before ending this section? Any other questions?
Good, Pramukh, thanks.
Yeah, silence has no actually. Yeah, thanks, Ivan. Okay, thank you.